Hello and welcome back to another character creation video. My name's Lumin and today we are back in Dark and Darker. Dark and Darker is a free-to-play, unforgiving, hardcore fantasy first-person PvPvE dungeon extraction adventure. Band together with your friends and use your courage, wits, and cunning to uncover mythical treasures and defeat gruesome monsters, all the while staying one step ahead of other devious treasure hunters. There's also a mobile version of the game out right now for anyone that is interested. This game has a character creation system that, while quite simple, is quite impactful nonetheless. There are a bunch of classes to choose from here with both male and female options, and then there's a bunch of extra races that you can purchase in the game itself. On top of that, each of the classes that we have a look at today will also have a full set of perks and skills available to them that we won't be covering in full, but you can obviously just jump into the game to check them out for yourself, at least the ones you're interested in. It's quite a lot. So, if you'd like to do a deep dive to discover all there is to discover about Dark and Darker, you can find some links below, and as always, there will be timestamps. Use them, find what you're looking for, and leave satisfied. Jumping in here, we are starting at the very beginning, and I'm going to say some of these classes, when we go through them, will have their faces covered. I will just overlay an example of what their faces look like as we go through. You can obviously jump into the game itself, take the armor off, and then you'll be able to see what the character looks like. So I'll put that in there for you. And with that said and done, let's begin with a fighter. A master of arms, adept in all areas of combat. Here we have the male version, and this is the female version. The fighter is a jack of all trades when it comes to combat, well versed with a multitude of weapons and armaments. The fighter can hold his or her own against anyone. Weapon of choice, pretty much everything. They can equip most weapons and armor, well-rounded attributes, and they have the ability to sprint. The downsides, dependent on equipment and cannot cast any spells. They're pretty cool. It's a very good starting point. I have obviously played as the fighter, as it was one of the initial classes that they added. Pretty nice. Then we have the Barbarian, as I mentioned, face covered. That right there is the male version. Here's the female. This is obviously just how you look initially. You will be changing your armor and equipment and stuff like that pretty quick after you start. This is the brawny warrior, fight with furious anger. The Barbarian is known for his hardy nature, fiery temper, and ability to endure immense pain. His rage and reckless abandon allow him to lead the charge into battle. Weapon of choice, anything heavy duty. Extreme health, damage bonus with two-handed weapons, and innate magic resistance. The downsides would be slow movement speed, slow attack speed, and slow interaction speed. Yeah, pretty hard to play these. I seem to remember swinging my axe at a whole lot of nothing while I was playing the game, but very fun nonetheless. Next up we have the rogue, the sly assassin. Move within the shadows. That's what they look like. The rogue is a master of deception, able to silently slip between the shadows to work his dastardly deeds. His dexterous hands enable him to quickly loot riches, pick locks, and disable various traps. Weapon of choice, daggers. High movement speed, quick attack speed, quickly interact with objects, can pick locks without a lockpick, can detect and disable traps, and moves more silently. Downsides would be low health, low damage bonus, and low magic resistance. There you go. Then we have the ranger. An astute hunter, always on target. Pretty cool. The ranger is an excellent survivalist with a keen eye and quick hands. The ranger tracks his enemies, sets traps, and ambushes unsuspecting prey. Weapon of choice, any long-range weapons. They are quick with the bow, they can track enemy players, they can set traps, and they can quickly start campfires. Those are pretty cool. Very thematic, I would say. Downsides, cannot equip most melee weapons, low damage with melee weapons. There you go. Then we have the wizard. The caster extraordinaire, bending the limits of reality. They look pretty cool. Even though you can't see much of their face with all of this on. The wizard calls forth the immense powers of magic to suit his needs, whether That means summoning a powerful fireball to cast asunder his foes or to temporarily vanish into thin air. His incantations are a sight to behold. Weapon of choice, wizard staff or spellbook. They can cast powerful spells, meditate to self-refresh spells, and wield magical weapons. They have slow interaction speed, low physical damage, and low health pools. That's your wizard. Cleric. A guardian angel. Lend a helping hand. Got the male and female versions right there. The cleric is a soldier of immense faith. The cleric uses his sacred bonds to his gods to call forth the protective powers of light and to vanquish the forces of dark. Weapon of choice, the flanged mace. Cast healing and protective spells, able to equip some plate armor, bonus damage to the undead, and adept with many blunt weapons. They have a slow attack speed, slow interaction speed, and low damage bonus, but obviously the support makes up for it. Alright, next up the bard. The magical minstrel. Lift up the spirits. The bard is a weaver of moving melodies and fantastic tales. They manage to get out of stickiest situations using their uncanny ability to mysteriously control the mood of the crowds and creatures. Their weapon of choice is the rapier. And they can do crowd control, and they're a good swordsman. The downside is they are loud. That's very weird. That's pretty much it. That's it. That's the downside. These dudes are loud. Then we have the Warlock. Master of dark arts. Unlock the secrets of the occult. There they are. Warlock is a brooding manipulator of dark magic. They sacrifice their life force to call upon unknown forces of pain and evil. A worthy adversary proficient in both magic and weapon mastery. They cast curses to debilitate targets, access to multiple physical weapons, and then their downsides are uses health when casting spells, consumes too much health, causes death. Yes, well, I mean, you don't say. That's a bit of a downside, yeah, that's sure. Then we have the Druid. Nature's protector, unleash the wild. The Druid is a spirit mage with deep connection to nature, able to wield the powers of the wilderness. They can even transform their bodies to mimic the powers of beasts. Their weapon of choice is the staff. They're able to shapeshift into various animal forms, utilize nature spells for healing, and then their downside is limited equipment. Alright, sounds pretty cool. And then on the final page, we have one that is currently a work in progress. We have the Sorcerer. The spell manipulator, ultimate power in your fingertips. The Sorcerer is a master of the elements and can weave together multiple spells to devastating results. With an innate aptitude for magic, they can cast spells using their bare hands. Weapon of choice, crystal sword. Alright, is that the crystal sword right there? It's not looking very crystalline to me. But alright, I guess we'll suspend our disbelief. Ability to cast spells without magical items, and then ability to merge spells. That's their positives, their negatives, long casting times, and long spell cooldowns. So that's pretty cool. That's a good look at what's available here. Now, for the purposes of this video, I will just jump in on the Barbarian. I will call it Le Mon, because why not? And then I'm going to show you guys what is up with the rest of the goodies. Because there's more. There is indeed more. When you jump into the lobby over here, you have a whole lot that you can access. I'm not going to get into the game and the gameplay side of things because that is a whole nother thing. We are mostly here for the cosmetics. So what I will show you is you can jump into the stash, take your character's clothes off, and see what they look like under the helmet. That's always a possibility. Under the armor as well. Then you can come to the shop over here. In the shop, you can upgrade to legendary status. It gives you a bunch of extra goodies, if you so desire. But what we're actually here for is the cosmetic menu. In the cosmetic menu, you get to purchase a bunch of extras that aren't all just cosmetic. So there's a new tab over here. We're going to skip that and we're going to go straight to race. You can purchase races to use. The races come with bonuses. Here we have Dark Elf. They give you +1 will and -1 dexterity. As you can see over here, they look different as well, which is kind of sick. The cost down at the bottom here, 6 or 6. And if you'd like to sort of do this for yourself, you can come and look at what the shards cost over here, right? But you buy them separately. So you buy Dark Elf male or female. It works like that. They have the same bonuses. Then we have the Palladian. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce that, but it's the Khajiit of Dark and Darker. You've got the two different versions of them. They have 2 agility extra. Then they have -1 strength and -1 vigor. There you go. We have a third one here as well. Same stats, obviously. Kind of nice. I mean, I like the visual styles that they have here. Then we have the Lycan race. They have +4 vigor, +10% headshot damage reduction, and then headgear cannot be worn. Well, I can see why. Jeez. They have 3 different versions of this. All pretty cool. I mean, I really like what they've done with the models here. Then we have the Frost Skeleton. These guys have extra weapon damage and -3 additional move speed. They look pretty sick, though. There you go. Lizard Men. These guys have 20 armor rating, +10% headshot damage reduction, and then they cannot wear headgear, once again. I think they've done relatively well with these races. They look pretty cool. On the next page over here, we have the Mummy. They have +1 vigor, -1 agility. They look pretty gnarly. The Orc. That's him right there. +1 strength, -1 agility. We got the female Orc as well. It's not the most flattering version of Orcs that I've ever seen. Here we have the Elf. +1 agility, -1 strength. The female one. Probably a fan favorite, I would say. And then we have the Elite Skeleton. That's extra magic resistance and less armor rating. There you go. Pretty cool. There's a lot of nice stuff. On top of that, if it wasn't enough, you can purchase extra goodies here. This is like... It's a massive selection. There's all sorts of emotes here. There's emotes that you can use in the game itself. There's emotes that you can use in the lobby. There's just a bunch of stuff. And this is the kind of stuff I suggest you go into the game, look at yourself, because it is a free-to-play game, so you can just jump in there. We have the lobby emotes. These are the ones that you use when you're at the table. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. They have what they call motions here. These are sort of bigger emotes where your character does something slightly more, I don't know, involved, I suppose you could call it. Then there's nameplate stuff, and then there is the exclusive stuff. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like this is stuff that you've missed out on. It's kind of rude of them to put it here, but I feel like this is basically stuff that came before, because it says here, as an example, Founders Edition, Hold the Line, Early Access Season 1 High Roller, Season 2 High Roller, and so on and so forth. So these are potentially goodies that you could have picked up from playing before, which, again, it kind of sucks, but, you know, I guess they show it off here to make sure that you can feel that significant amount of FOMO and purchase everything before it disappears. I don't know, man. I don't know. But yeah, we've got the skeleton. That was like sort of one of the initial races that they added. The Nightmare Skeleton, the Frost Walker, the Skeleton Champion, another cat, and a zombie. Then there's a few other goodies that you can see here as well. But yeah, that does bring us basically to the end of what is available. And I will just say here that, I mean, I'm a pretty big fan. This game has come along super nicely. I played it way back when it first came out, before it was even on Steam, and I was impressed by it back then, by how fun the gameplay was, how cool it looked, just the overall immersion factor involved, and now it just seems to be a step further. There's a whole lot more classes, there's obviously a whole lot more races, and they look pretty good. Yeah, and it's free to play, so that's like the only thing you really need, right? So there you go, a quick look at what's available in Dark and Dark. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know which of those races you like the most, if you are one to partake in such things. I personally, I love the idea of a good drow myself. I mean, why wouldn't I? They're pretty fantastic. And I don't know, man. I don't know. The elf looks kind of nice too. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Let me know what you think. You can obviously check back here soon for more. Give this video a like, share it, and do all that other good stuff. You can find my links below, my coffee page and my Twitch channel if you'd like to support me there. And hey, happy extracting with that loot in Dark and Darker. Happy that.